very welcome back, Taryn. Then now, a little warning: if you have some small ears with you, you may want to move them into another room.
That's right. It's the season of giving. But when it comes to sex, what do we actually want, and how do we set boundaries? Now, with advice on sex during the silly season, we are joined by sex educator Jenny Keane.
Hello.
Good morning. All right. So, season of giving and receiving.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I think it's really great because we have this time of the year, you know, when we're getting into the festive season, we're thinking about what it is we want to give to people and also what we want for ourselves. And we never really translate this into the bedroom, like thinking about, well, what is it that I want more for myself? Like, what do I need? And also, how can I be a better giver in the bedroom? We don't have that time of year where we think about it. So I always say, while you're thinking about what presents to get people, you know, it's also a really good time to check in with yourself and think, like, how can I be a better giver? How can I be a better receiver? Because ultimately, like, when we're giving presents, what we're saying is, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about what will bring you joy and pleasure. And I'm doing that because I care about you. Yeah. So it's really great to do that in the bedroom as well, you know?
So having these conversations with your partner, I suppose communication is key. It can be difficult or maybe embarrassing if you're in a new relationship to ask for something that you're interested in or you want to try. So what's the best way to approach this?
Do you know, I have a really great list that I do because, you know, first of all, sometimes introducing something new, especially when you've been in a relationship for a long time, there's this safety in knowing what's happening, and like we get into these habits and there's safety in those habits. But one of the things that we know, especially in long-term relationships, that novelty is key for satisfaction in the long term, particularly in the bedroom. So introducing novelty. And I'm not saying, when I say introduce novel acts, people are like thinking of, you know, the crazy things, you know, they're thinking of like the latex suits and the whips and the chains, you know, but it's not about that. It's about introducing really, like, it's doing small things. That could be introducing a sex toy. It could be changing the positions that you normally do, you know, so it's finding really small ways to approach it. And there's a really great list that I give people. It's called the yes, no, maybe list. And you can do it by yourself. You can do it as a couple. And it essentially is a list of acts. And that could be anything from like hair pulling to spanking to a sex position or whatever it is that you want to try. And you go down the list and you tick whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, whether it's a maybe. Then at the end of that list, you figure out like where your yeses align. And those are the things then that you can implement over the course of, you know, a year.
Yeah. You know, some people also might feel that the balance is not being struck and that they always feel like they were giving.
Yeah.
Or that they're, you know, or they're always receiving and they want to change that up.
Yeah. Well, do you know, it's really interesting because we tend to be more comfortable in the position of giving when it comes to sexual circumstances. And that's actually due in part to our day-to-day lives. If you think, like, we really champion the doer in, you know, the person who's productive, you know, in our day. If you have a really good week where you've got all your to-do list done, we tend to give ourselves a little clap on the back and we're like, that was a fantastic productive week, you know. Whereas when we go into a receptive role, which is seen to be more of a passive state, maybe we've had a week where we're really tired, where we're really stressed, where we need to do less, where we need to sit inside a little bit more, where we need to lie back on the sofa and, you know, binge watch a Netflix series. We tend to then think that wasn't a good week, you know, and then we have to catch up with ourselves and be productive next week. And this same idea comes into our sex lives, into the bedroom as well, where we feel more comfortable giving, you know. And being the receptive, we have this idea of, like, you know, the pillow princess. If I lie back and, you know, lie back for too long, are they going to think I'm lazy? Are they going to think I'm a greedy lover? You know, if I take up too much space receiving, you know, I'm going to have to like jump up and suddenly be like, you know, it's a transactional thing then where I have to give back. So learning how to strike that balance is really important. And there's like really simple tips that you can implement to be a better giver and a better receiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are those?
Well, so the first one that I always say is learn to drop from your mind into your body. We know that when we're overthinking, when we're worrying, when we're thinking about everything that we need to do, we're not really in the experience of pleasure or sensation, because those things live in and through the body. You have to feel them in the body. So learning how to drop from the mind into the body, the first thing is learn to notice, right? And that's really simple. It's like noticing the temperature of the room, noticing the texture, you know, of maybe the bed sheets or even the sofa, right, against your skin, noticing the pressure of your lover's hand, like whether it's fast or slow or firm or soft. These things help you drop from your mind into your body. And it's a really, really important skill to learn to be both a better receiver, you know, and a giver. The other thing is then learning to communicate communicate in the bedroom in real time. Sometimes we can kind of attribute communication in the bedroom as being something that interrupts sex, but actually, and it can interrupt sex in a bad way if you don't know how to communicate well, but if you know how to do it really good, it's actually something that really enhances the experience. So to be a better receiver, I have a 3-step approach that I tell everyone to do, and that's praise, guide, praise. And that looks like when you're, lying back and enjoying the situation, you're like, that feels really good, a little slower. Yes, just like that.
Okay.
Because you're helping the other person not be in their mind, not be guessing, right? And then as a giver, it's really important that you're not asking a question like, hey, how does this feel, right? And you can actually step back and think, but I'm being very attentive and I'm caring and I'm showing that I want to do better. But actually what you're doing is bringing the receiver out of their body and into their head, because now they have to think, what are they doing? How do I communicate that? What can they do better, right? So doing things like making the answer shorter, so options are really good. Slower or faster, more pressure or less.
So we're coming into the festive period as well, but we're also coming into cuffing season.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that is?
So cuffing season is generally this period of time, and it's attributed to autumn and winter, where we start to want to, do a little more pairing up and coupling up. That's a very biological thing. We're coming into the colder months. We want to share body heat, right? And essentially cuff ourselves to another person.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing.
I would have thought it would be great to be single around this time because you don't have to buy extra presents then. Is that not a thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, you can buy more for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because in relationships, it's actually a period of time where people are getting quite sick. They're taking check of the relationship that they're in. Is this working for me? Is this something that I want in the long term? Or are we going to separate now as we head into the festive season,
Yeah, and speaking of festive season, this is also known as silly season.
Yeah.
And, people can engage in a lot more casual sex and different things that might change. I don't know. What advice would you give to people on setting boundaries around this time?
Do you know what's very interesting? There's this idea that casual sex is attributed to being casual with people's feelings. And actually, that's not true at all if you do casual sex well. If you're bad at casual sex, then you're doing that, But I always say there's a difference between being emotionally connected versus emotional investment. But ultimately, when we look at casual sex, what we're saying is that there's all parties are in agreement about the condition of a relationship that can be renegotiated at any time. So if feelings do start to become involved, it's really important to communicate that and say, actually, I do see this turning into a long-term thing. How do you feel? And if that person's like, sorry, no, I'm only here for short term. I'm only here for a fling. I'm, not around. You have to really listen to that. And I always say to people, if you tend to have a destiny mindset when it comes to relationships, avoid casual sex circumstances. This is where you might, you have a good kiss or you have a good night with someone, and then suddenly it's like, oh my God, it's my first name with their second name, and it's the morning after. That is destiny mindset, and please be careful in casual circumstances.
Okay, we'll put on for that. Now, the toy show was on last night.
Yeah.
We're having our very own here this morning.
That was
on
such
Ireland's
a
Day.
segue.
Thank you very much.
That was such a segue.
You brought along some toys for us to take a look at this
I
morning.
actually, speaking of the toy show, I actually do an annual Christmas show every year called the Sex Toy Show, and it's on Monday.
Okay. Well, we're getting a sneak
Similar
peek this morning.
concept. Yeah, absolutely. I brought some toys so I'll show you this one. This is the kind of crazy one. This is called the Snail Vibe Curve. Right. This has been Ireland's bestseller. I actually think that everyone in the country has one of these by now.
Really? No, I'm embarrassed to say I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah, I know. But honestly, when it first came to me, I was like, I have no idea which end goes where. But essentially, it's a dual vibrator. So you've got two motors, one here, one here. That stimulates the inside, that stimulates the outside. So essentially, it looks like this. But what you have with the curve, what makes it brilliant is that essentially you've got the power of a wand, which is generally a really big toy that can scare people. And you also have then the variability of length, which is really important because not everybody's body is the same. And then this is probably the winner for a lot of vulva odors, people with clitorises and women, because the design here means that there's this firm pressure against the clitoris the entire time, which people really love, and you don't get it with dual stimulators because you'll have a kind of a more flexible arm.
Okay.
So, but it's been the bestseller. It's known as the snail. I'd say it's the only snail in the world that has been associated with the speed in terms of how quick it was flying out.
And we're really excited to say that there's one for everyone in the audience here tonight.
And then I really want to show you. Do we have time to show you this one? This is This is called the We Vibe Temp. Now, this is brand new to the market. I generally don't show brand new toys because I like to test them first, but this is so fun. Temp is about the kind of temperature play with your body. So sometimes we know adding ice cubes, for a little bit of coolness, or adding, drip candles for heat can help to, add more sensations to erogenous zones. So this is a lay-it-on vibrator that can go instantly cool or instantly hot. Okay. So if you feel that on your skin, that's cool now.
Okay.
And then we can press a button and it goes, I'll show you the hot one here. Hold on. Is that heating up now? Yeah, that's heating up now.
And you would place that on anywhere?
Anywhere, yeah. You can place it on erogenous zones, you can place it on the genitals, but it's great, for neck. And, I also say as well, if you see things that are in the market for facials, right, like these toys, they generally exist in the sex toy industry as well, but at a much cheaper price. There's one on the market for about €300 for facials, and basically you use the instant cool to depuff, right?
Oh, those masks?
Yeah, well, it's not the mask, it's an actual... an application. So you depuff, like people ice their faces, depuff, or the heat also can help to then increase circulation and increase the look of hydration and that dewiness on the skin. You can actually do the same thing with this, and it's way less. It's a third of the price, So this is one of my favorite toys, the We Vibe Temp. And then I have this one, which is pheromone perfume. Oh, you can try that.
I've actually always wanted to try this. To be fair, we don't have. Well, I'll not let you. You can smell it.
I have no sense of smell. You're safe. You're safe. Yeah.
That's right.
So that's and there's also one that is no scent whatsoever. So it's pheromones.
Yeah, it smells different on everyone.
Absolutely. But pheromones is actually, so we mostly know pheromones is like something that is a trigger for sexual responses in others, but actually it's a trigger for social responses. So it kind of is this scent that can subtly influence and alter the mood or perception. So it kind of creates this like magnetism or allure. You can use this, I would say, if you're single, it's a great present to get yourself or to ask your friends for. If you can use it to attract somebody. I have a lot of people using it on in real life dating events like speed dating and all that kind of stuff. If you're in a long-term relationship, there's a couples one. I actually have it down here on the desk, and you can use it for, attract him, attract her. So it can kind of like give you that little spark. Do you know the way when you first went dating and you're looking at each other in your eyes and you can kind of see your pupils dilating? We tend to lose that after a while because we know someone so much. This kind of adds that back in, so it's a really, a fun thing. And then we have loads of toys in here. We got the rose, which you were speaking about earlier. It gets great reviews. So the clitoral suction is really, really popular for women's bodies because it actually mimics oral sex. And this one is a great present. It's a really good Chris Kindle, I think, because it's €40. You can get ones that, on the other side, the womanizer, that's €200. Now that's like the Rolls Royce of clitoral vibrators. So, if you're really looking to give, if somebody knows they like that sensation, I say go for the womanizer. It's the best on the market.
And Jenny Keane's own toy show is on Monday. Thank
Jenny,
you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, up next, it's pudding season, so we are cooking up a sweet and irresistible one in the kitchen.
We'll see you back here shortly. That's your new scent now for Christmas.